Kiss. Kiss. 106.5.
We have to interrupt this broadcast.
This ad break you're listening to has been interrupted from a phone call from the Prime Minister.
He's a busy man this morning. The budget obviously was the big news last night. Everyone's talking about it today. So,
hello, sir. How's things?
Kyle, look, things are good, but it's not about me, it's about our country. And last night's budget was tough, but I think it was fair because we couldn't go on paying the mortgage on the credit card. And
I told everyone it was Rudd's fault for giving everyone $900 to go out and get pissed with, and now we're having to pay the price.
Well, it is a bit like that because the former government was world champion at wasting money, and now we've got to rein in that spending, but in so doing, we will actually build a better Australia down the track because we're spending less on short-term consumption and more on long-term investment as a result of this budget.
Are you worried, though, that this could cost you in the next election, that people will be upset with this?
Jackie O, look, sure, we might take a popularity hit, but this isn't about what's good for politicians. This has got to be about what's good for the country, and that's what we've done. We've done what we honestly believe is good for the country.
If Australia was a 7-Eleven, we would have to shut down now, wouldn't we, and sell because there was no. You have to make tough decisions to keep the business afloat.
We weren't making enough money to cover our outgoings. That's the problem. So you've got to make a little more, and you've got to reduce your outgoings. So that's what you've got to do to stay in business. And in the end, countries aren't so different from households and businesses. We've got to live within our means.
I heard even the filthy rich, which should be Liberals' main people. I heard that...
You're not looking up to them either.
I heard that they're getting pumped as well.
Well, look, Kyle, you're right. Higher income earners will pay quite a little bit of extra tax, so you and me will pay because it's got to be fair.
Yeah.
What about?
I don't like fair. I've never been to one. I've never sort of been on the fair side of things.
One of the big things was the retirement age being lifted to 70.
That's good.
Now the jobs for the jobs for people, when you're 65 years of age, it would be very hard to get a job.
That's a very good point, Jackie O, and that's why in the budget we are making available up to $10,000 to employers who take on people over 50 who've been on a benefit for a period of time,
right.
and if you've been on a benefit, we want to make it more worth the while of employers to take you on if you're an older person, because we've got to get rid of this culture of youth when it comes to giving people jobs. Older people are just as capable as younger people at doing most jobs.
We did promise our listeners that we would give them access to you.
You ready?
They're on. I don't know what we're going to expect here, Mr. Abbott, but you'll be prepared.
I'll do my best.
He knows what he's doing.
All right, Carl, you're on air with the Prime Minister.
Good morning, PM. I've never spoken to anyone as high as you, but I'm glad I am because it's hard enough for someone like me that earns a normal wage to get a weekend away and go to like Queensland or Virgin Air. Why do your PMs keep getting caught out on private air charters?
Well, that's a good question. And look, politicians should only travel when they have to for good government purposes. And one of the things you'll notice has gone in this budget is the so-called gold pass, which enabled ex-politicians to travel around the country free for life, and that's gone.
Free for life?
Should never have been there in the first place, and now it's gone forever.
Free for life?
Mm-hmm.
So all Hawke and all these ones are all getting around going to Bali on the free?
Well, not international, but certainly domestic. And look, it was one of those things that should never have been there, and it's gone.
Right, well,
Natasha, you're on air with the Prime Minister.
Hi, Natasha. She's 22. Go for it.
Hi, Prime Minister. How are you going?
I'm good, Natasha.
Okay, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
So you're doing the 6 months thing for people who are on the youth, on the
unemployment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unemployment.
Yep.
Thank you. And I've been unemployed for about 6-7 months.
Yep.
I've got over 5 years' experience in management,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't find a job. You know why? Because apparently there's not enough experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people who quit in their jobs. Why? They're getting verbally abused at work. They're getting treated like crap or they're not getting enough money for what they should be getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how are they going to live for 6 months if they're not getting the money they need? I live in Western Sydney. I've got a lot of people who are looking for jobs, not giving them a chance, and people are quitting their jobs because they're getting abused from where they live.
I can answer this for you, Prime Minister. Toughen up is what I'd say. Is that what you'd say, Prime Minister?
Well, what I'd say to Natasha is that if you are a young person and you can't get a job, what about upgrading your qualifications by going to uni, doing a diploma course, doing an apprenticeship, and all of these
diplomas in my hand.
Okay, but all of these things will be easier under us because we're deregulating universities. We're going to allow support for people doing non-degree studies, diplomas and things like that. And very importantly, there are the trade support loans that we're bringing in, which means that if you're doing an apprenticeship or a traineeship in one of these skills that are in demand, you can get up to $20,000 from the government on the same basis that uni students do. So we think it's very important for young people to be either earning or learning, and we're making it much easier for people to be learning if for whatever reason they can't be earning.
Do you think earning's a bit overrated? I mean, learning stuff.
The earning.
Yeah.
Well,
the earning's that's required. The
necessary.
learning, though. Is it that important?
Well, Kyle, yes, it is, because if you're not actually out there working for a wage, you should be trying to ensure that you are more employable, and that's what all this skill support is about. It's trying to ensure that people are more employable.
Joanne, you're on air with the Prime Minister. Go ahead.
Hi, look, I'm just calling up wanting to know the pension till the age of 70. So labour-intensive jobs, and I'll talk specifically firefighters. How do you expect these men and women to wear that gear and work until they're the age of 70 on the back of a truck?
Well, Joan, most of us change jobs at some stage during our lives, and it's true that you're unlikely to be a labourer in your late 60s, but there are all sorts of reskilling, retraining opportunities. And as I said...
That's tough for a 60-plus, to get their head around that. They've done this all their life and now suddenly they're having to...
You can't just change jobs. They don't have... Then firefighters especially, things like that.
Yeah, well, you know what? My dad's in this exact position, right? And my dad retired and he was so bored and he had so much more he thought he could give. He was a salesman and in management his whole life, and now he's working at some bus depot up in Brisbane, but he loves it. And I was like, oh, you're driving buses. Oh,
but I can't imagine what my dad's a builder. I can't imagine what he would do.
Well, you go and you become a ticket inspector at the council buses.
Well,
or you might drive a truck. I mean, there are all sorts of things that people can do. Which don't involve heavy manual work, that don't involve lifting and twisting, which, as you say, once you're on the wrong side of 50, it starts to become more difficult and you start to become more prone to injuries. And this is why this restart program, which will give employers up to $10,000 if they take on someone over 50, is such an important complement.
Let's get a couple of oldies in here.
Move up the retirement age.
Will you give us some money if we get a couple of grannies in here?
Well, yeah, that's the short answer is yes, Carly. If you take them off the disability pension or unemployment benefits, you will be entitled under us
to 10 grand for me in my pocket.
Well, for the employer. Now, if you're the employer, if you've got them providing services that you need, and if you're paying them a wage, Kyle, you get the money.
Sweet.
Good.
You'll get a scam going there. Get a heap of grannies working for us. Not a scam. I don't mean a scam. I mean, a plan.
Well, Prime Minister, thanks for talking to us this morning.
Hang on. I know it's all budget day, but did you see your daughter smoking cigarettes with a boyfriend?
Look, I saw that.
Did you know about the smoking?
Sprung.
Oh,
Did you know?
Look, I do know that she liked the social cigarette on special occasions. Yep, I did.
What was
know
special
that.
about that night? Was that a special night?
I think it was a bit of a fun night, and she decided to let her hair down with one cigarette. I don't approve.
What about this bloke, though? What do you think of this bloke? Do you like the bloke?
Nevertheless, if you want to relax with a cig, it's
It's your own
free
choice.
country.
It's a free
It's a
country.
free
So
country.
have you ever smoked before?
Look, my mum and dad were both heavy smokers, and that kind of put me off smoking. And
Oh, did it?
I've never been much good at the old drawback, I'm afraid.
But you tried it?
You're a bum puffer.
Yeah.
We've all, I think there are a few things that most of us haven't tried at some stage. But
Oh, not me. I've tried
I'm
everything.
I'm talking budget today.
Oh, that's right. Okay, but now, well, I think you've answered all the budget questions. Well, we'll let you go. But what do you reckon of that boyfriend? Is he a keeper or is he no good? Jimmy?
Look, it's not my call. It's
No,
Francis'
yeah, but
call.
you'd get in there with your influence. You've got to have some influence in there.
I'm not sure how much influence I have in these matters.
All right, Prime
Okay, well, we're off to
Minister.
Dubai next week, so if you need anything from us, you're going to have to ring over there.
Good on you, Kyle. Good on you, Jackie O.
If we get in any
Mr.
trouble,
Abbott.
I'm going to give you a call because I don't know anyone else that can get us out of the drama.
Understand.
Okay,
Good.
cool. Thank you, sir, and have a nice day.
Kiss 1065.